Is everyone hearing this? No worries, Roma. Hi folks, Planning Association. Sorry about the little glitch. We had a little bit of a technical problem, but I'll push on anyway. Basically, the webinar tonight, you would have received the email. It's about making money for you and basically through financial education. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to go through this really quickly, really fast, and at the end, if you think this is of help to your situation, then we'll actually tell you where you can go to find out some more information. So we're going to go through this fairly quickly. I'll probably try and stick on time. The plan was to finish by about 7:45, so that's still the plan. And thanks for attending. So I can see there's James, Kathleen, Nalan, and a few others that have attended. So it's quite a good turn up, and appreciate it. Basically, that's a disclaimer, and the disclaimer is basically saying that you know, we just provide education and information. So we don't give advice. We're not giving. We're a consumer group. We don't give any sort of financial advice or tax advice. We provide financial education and information. The objective for tonight is, firstly, we're going to teach you all about what the Retirement Planning Association is and all about. Secondly, we'll discuss some case studies, and we'll give you a couple of examples, and you'll learn what works and what doesn't work. And finally, we find out what you need to consider now and ensure that you can you know, successfully build wealth and retire financially secure in the future. So what you will find is that I will read a lot of this tonight, and by reading this, it's a matter of applying the same concept, the same basic concept to financial education that we're planning to teach through a program that we'll talk about at the end of the night. So a couple of things I say up front, and we do a lot of workshops around the country. So basically, I tell people, you know, don't try and make me wrong, or try and make us wrong. Better think to yourself how this might actually work for you in your situation. And the other thing we tell people is that, you know, we may offend people by some of the things we say, but if we do, just think of that as a bonus. So you're going to hear a lot of uncut, uncensored. We don't sugarcoat it. We basically tell you how it is. So, you know, we're not speaking like the media. So we're not going to, you know, fluff around the edges. We'll actually tell you what we see, and you know, from there you can gauge your own opinion. Just for the record, just in case people are wondering, you know, we didn't think this up last night, so it's not something that we've done overnight and it got out of a textbook. It's tried and proven that, and you know, you're probably happy and appreciate that we haven't actually thought it up overnight. So introducing the Retirement Planning Association. So basically, who is RPAA? You may have heard of the Retirement Planning Association. You would have got an email, and basically, if you've got an email, that means that either you've registered sometime in the last 4 to 4.5 years as a free member on our website, which is rpaa.com.au, if you don't recall registering on the site, then one of our existing members, which could be either a friend or a family member or a business associate or a work associate, has probably done it on your behalf. So, so if you're wondering why you're getting emails from us, it's from our database, and you've actually got a free membership already. So you're one of the many members of the Retirement Planning Association. We're a leading consumer group. So we're a consumer group of financial education and information. We've got just over 28,000 at the moment, and not surprised by the actual name. The Retirement Planning Association may indicate that most of the members are either approaching retirement or in retirement. But the third point down, as you can see, is that 89.2% of our members are aged between 30 and 58. We provide financial education and information. We've done a few national roadshows. One of the key ones we did was in conjunction with Sky Business a few years ago. Main speaker from Sky Business Channel. We provide workshops. We've got a number of newsletters. We've actually been voted as Australia's most trusted authority, and that's been voted by our members. We've got free membership, which the 28,000 plus members are all free members, and we've introduced a paid membership level, which we can tell you a little bit about later. But basically, that's what our members have asked for. We also provide financial education coaching academy, Wealth Roundtable, and we've got a number of mastermind and think tank groups. So I suppose people in the webinar are trying to figure out, are they as good as their reputation? Are they as good as their newsletters? And is their research really that good? Well, we'll see, and you can decide that. So here's the Retirement Planning Association story. So you may recall back before the global financial crisis, which most people would be familiar with, happened around 8 or 9 years ago. And basically, some of the strategies we were using at the time was based on research, and that research was telling us or indicating that there was a problem coming in the marketplace. And by using that information, then certain people made a decision to get out of the share market within their super funds mainly and retirement funds, and hence their retirement, and never lost money in the global financial crisis. So really, at the time, yes, it was a big call. It was a big call, but they made the call and they took to get out based on sound research. So the share market fell 54%. If you had a lot of money built up in your retirement funds and you got hit by a global financial crisis, it can, in theory and in practical fact, wipe out your retirement. And so the journey begins. So what actually happened is that we were doing a few workshops around the country, and Drop in particular, which was in Brisbane, a couple of hundred people, and the question was asked, could everyone stand up? And question, sit down if you never lost money in your super funds in the global financial crisis. And lo and behold, the majority of the room was standing up. So that indicated that there was a problem, and most people got caught out in the global financial crisis. Strategies used before the global financial crisis, you can actually see the implications by this asset class performance. So, for example, if someone had $1 million invested in retirement funds or superannuation at the time, not that everyone has $1 million, but for example, if they had $1 million, then through the GFC, probably for the 4-year period from the GFC beginning to after the GFC, you would have indicated or looked at the graph and seen the yellow line and the green line. That's basically how the funds would have performed. And the blue line is the Australian share market, and the orange line that goes down a fair bit is actually related to property security funds, but you can have within your super funds as well. So by looking at that chart, you can see that certain strategies, if there's certain strategies put in place, then there are ways to protect money, no matter what happens with share markets. So basically, when people invest and they get financial education, the few things that they need to consider, they should be considering their risk profile, and their risk profile basically relates to their asset allocation. which could mean how many shares you've got, how much property exposure you've got, and the actual share market correction can have big implications on a portfolio that, for instance, might have a lot of share exposure or property exposure. Most people have a set and forget portfolio, so they really just have their super. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind, and as it grows, generally you'll find that a lot of people have got share exposure, and as the shares continue to grow, because long-term performance of shares has gone up, they get more exposure to the share market within their super funds as their super funds grow, and lo and another global financial crisis or correction. And some people find they lose between maybe 25 and 50% of their funds and wonder what happened. So basically, part of the financial education that we teach, the Retirement Planning Association teaches, is to do with how to protect, preserve and grow their wealth. So what we did, by having just over 28,000 members, we wondered what they wanted, and so we asked them. So we surveyed our members and we found out what they actually wanted from us, and here's what we discovered. They basically wanted financial information. So what we did is we, at the Retirement Planning Association, we actually designed and put together a financial education system based on what our members wanted. Here's what else they told us. So they wanted assistance with direct property investment. That was by far the number one choice of where they wanted help. And of course, with people to do with property investment, they wanted to know where the hotspots were, and they wanted to know where to buy and who to trust. So we put a lot of research together in that area. The next most popular area was, of course, superannuation. Third, you can see on the list, was self-managed super funds. Then it was retirement planning strategies, financial education, home loans and property finance. There's a lot of members that obviously have got some home loans and investment property loans. Personal insurances such as life insurance, income protection, trauma insurance, etc. Small response on shares and share trading, which was a little bit surprising. Some of the members who wanted information on what shares to buy, how to buy, and all the benefits and features of shares. They also wanted to know how to protect what they've got, which is very important, and also how to generate better returns, which I suppose everyone wants better returns. So from the membership, we've had a few members come to the association to get some financial education, and I'll give you a couple of examples. So the first one is a business owner. So a business owner contacted the association. He says, "Can I come in and have a chat?" So he came into the office, and he was looking at retiring, and basically he wanted to know and have an opinion of what he had. He had about 700,000 sitting in super, and he was paying high fees, or he perceives them to be high fees. After the actual financial education, he figured out that he could save anywhere between $10,500 and $17,000 in the fees that he was actually, by having 700,000 in super. This particular member could potentially have a saving of just over $10,000 in fees, and that's quite a lot. Second example there is a Hunter Valley truckie who sent us through some information, and he had no idea what his super statement actually meant. Had a quick chat with him, and he ended up, he was paying just over 5% in management fees. Surprise, surprise, the people looking after his super, not only had he not heard of them, no one had contacted him as far as he was concerned in the past. Retired couple, bit of one. It was at one of the workshops. A couple came out and they had their super statement, and the guy was, or male and female, husband and wife, just retired 18 months, had $560,000 in super, and on their statement they had $136,000 left after the GFC, global financial crisis. What's happening? Didn't understand it. It ended up that they had a lot of exposure to what they call property security funds, and Unfortunately, their particular fund that they were invested into went negative minus 74% through the GFC. So pretty much their retirement was wiped out from $560,000 to $136,000. Very sad. The final one's an inheritor. So guy on disability pension, he got left some money by his mum who passed away, and he went to see a particular accounting practice in the south of New South Wales. What happened was he got advice. He came to us to get some financial education so he could understand what he was given, and he decided to take a different track. And the firm that actually gave him advice ended up losing more than $350 million worth of their money. So I think they ended up on a current affair and in all sorts of trouble. So basically, RPA, we just want to try and make a real difference. We believe that we offer the easiest, safest way to master the art of building wealth for your future. So here's why we believe that. We believe that you can do much better than you're doing at the moment. We also believe that since the global financial crisis, that the power has shifted to the consumer. So the consumer and all the attendees tonight on the webinar, you're all consumers. So we believe that power has shifted to you. Business success will be earned in the new economy. So we are definitely in a new economy since the global financial crisis. And unfortunately, nice people are broke. We also believe that the old economy is shattered and never to return. We'll talk a little bit about further into the presentation. Also believe that there's potentially a perfect storm brewing, and maybe the global financial crisis has not finished yet. But the best reason is, of course, financial education. So information that you can learn yourself to make an informed decision instead of putting your trust in someone else and hoping they get it right. So we believe that it's too dangerous to leave it up to someone else to manage your money for you. So we believe that most people, and not everyone will want to do it, but we believe that most people should learn how to manage their money and take control of their own financial situation. And at the end, as I said, we've got something fairly special that we're launching. In the email that went out recently. So here's a question, and the question is, have you ever wondered that what you've been told in the past may not actually have been true? How would you feel? So for those, you can quite easily type your, if you want to type into the chat box and let us know how you feel. Yeah, yes, we've got a few comments there. Rudolph, yep. So here's where we think you've been taken advantage of. Yeah, good point, James. You're not surprised, it's not true with the media hype and the speculation. Yep, it's spot on. So here's where we think that people have been taken advantage of. So super funds, you're actually paying high fees potentially. Yes, there's some low fee paying super funds, but generally most people don't really worry about their super, and they don't look at paying low returns because we've got a low interest rate environment at the moment. Credit cards, if you've got a credit card and you don't pay it off every month, I'm sure you know you'd be paying fairly high interest there. Advice, so they charge fees for service or commissions, and also trails that are charged. Insurance, so there's commissions and trails, managed investments, which could include your super funds and also home loans. So I'm all for people getting paid, commissions for home loans, and trail commissions, but it's got to be the right thing by the consumer. So basically, we think the banks have got their hands in our pockets. And here's an example. So here's where you're being affected. There's about $30 billion a year, that's billion with a B, being paid for super fund fees throughout Australia. Bank accounts are, paying, say, for example, 0.1 of 1%, so not even 1%, 1/10 of 1%, but they're lending it out on credit cards and getting somewhere between 18 and 24% in some instances. Credit cards, so the actual interest that the credit card companies and banks are charging, there's 52 billion credit cards, and if you actually factor in an average return of, I think it's 17 or 18%, it means that they're earning somewhere around $9.2 billion in fees. So if you now actually think back to what the banks are making, when you see the profit comes out for the banks, then you can see where the $9.2 billion is coming from. So a lot of it could be coming from credit cards. Financial advice, there's good advisors out there that provide a good service, but generally, average might be 1%, or they may charge a fee for service. There may be ongoing commissions, especially some advisors. Number of clients that we've got no idea how they service, 5 to 10,000 customers or clients, no idea how they do that. Insurance products, and of course managed investments again. So here's an example. So potentially for every $100,000 you may have in super or managed investments or other similar investments, you could be paying around about $3,000 per annum in fees and charges. So if you've got $250,000 super, managed investments or other similar investments, that could mean that you're paying around about $7,500 in fees. So if that's your situation, how does that make you feel? We think it's excessive, and that's basically what we think that's happening, is that you walk into the banks or the super funds and they're looking to make money out of you. So we actually say don't take any property investment, retirement planning, or any other advice from anyone who's a pretend expert and does not have a good track record. Just a quick overview of the world financially. So what actually happened in the global financial crisis? The share markets fell 1%, and more in some instances between November 2007 and March 2009. Property funds in super funds, so for example that retired couple I mentioned earlier, they lost 74%. US debt's increasing, so the period of time since President Barack Obama has come into office, the debt originally was around about $8.7 trillion. So in 8 years, they've increased from 8.7 trillion to $20 trillion. And how they actually repay that, that's a whole different conversation. US property at the time of the global financial crisis fell on average across the US by 30 to 50%. Unemployment in the United States, they say it's around about 5%, but if you actually count the underemployed, it's a lot higher than that. After 6 months, they obviously, part of their system, they no longer count the people who are employed part-time. There's problems overseas still, so there's problems in Greece, Spain, Ireland, Italy, Portugal, and those problems are definitely not solved. And a few months ago we had the Brexit, so the UK actually left the European Union. So the US, we believe that the US share markets have actually been propped up by the US Federal Reserve by printing money. Interest rates are an all-time low, and by having interest rates at the low rates that they are, then people are prone to borrow more, take more risks, and if we have another problem on the share markets, another global financial crisis or a banking crisis, then it'll create a bigger problem again. And you may recall investors' bank accounts were raided over in Cyprus. There's actually a couple of countries in the European zone that are paying negative interest rates. So you put your money with their bank and they pay you minus 0.75%. So you've almost got to pay them 1% of your money to put your money in the bank. So here's another question. So basically, are people seeking information about what you need to know or do you just want to be told what works and have someone else teach you actually how to do it? So we believe that the financial education that the Retirement Planning Association offers, it offers financial security and peace of mind for the rest of your life. So basically, if you learn it yourself, then you'll be able to take control of your situation and create better wealth and more wealth. And by the way, we don't do this by using any safety net. We do it day in and day out. So we've got a proven system that we educate people in. People's fears, frustrations, wants, desires, and needs. So what do people fear? So those people online who are on the webinar, so what do you fear? Do you fear not having enough money to retire? Do you fear buying an investment property and not buying in the right location and find that your property never grows? Do you fear getting injured or sick? What frustrates you? Where do you want to see yourself in 5 years, 10 years and up to retirement? So basically, how's your plans going in those three areas? So the last email would have indicated that we're going to talk basically about property investment, super funds and self-managed super funds. So we'll touch on that. Really, from a property investment point of view, people generally need to know or want to know where the hotspots are. They want to know where to buy, they want to know who to trust, and they want to know that they're not going to a spruiker. You've got to be fairly careful. There's a couple of members that have invested in property and it hasn't gone well over the years, and they're looking to educate themselves and now take control of their own financial situation and be more informed, I suppose. With super funds, so which super fund should you be in, and when you've got a super fund, which portfolio should you be in, and what risks are involved. So for example, you might have a particular super fund that might have 200 choices of options that you can invest into, and if you're in the wrong investment at the wrong time, and we see large falls in the share market, then your money's definitely at risk. And some people just go for the lowest fees, and that's fine. Fees are very important as well. Self-managed super funds, you've got to consider, are they suitable for you? Do you want to take control of your own situation? There's amounts that you should have as a minimum, and that's all part of the financial education program that we've got going. Some people want to buy property, so there's benefits that you can buy property where you don't actually pay capital gains tax. There's particular strategies which makes you retain more money, I suppose, when you retire. So our education and information will teach you exactly what you need to know and what to look out for, plus what works and what doesn't work. So we've basically figured it out. So here's the main problem. So people all over the world, the association, the Retirement Planning Association statistics say that as many as 97.4% of people lost money in their retirement savings and super funds due to the most recent and the continuing global financial crisis. So that's a fact, and that's based on the members of the association, which is just over 28,000. According to ING Direct, so ING are a fund manager, research by S&P, which is Standard & Poor's, which are a big research house, shows that at least 79% of Australian fund managers have done worse than the share market benchmark, which is the index of the share market, over every possible time frame from 1 to 10 years. So that means that the fund managers that you've got your super through potentially have done worse. So almost 80% of those have done worse index of the share market. So out of those Australian fund managers, 86% have also underperformed when they're investing into global markets. So international shares, overseas shares. So research can find no relationship whatsoever between fees and performance. So we believe that management fees in super and other investments, basically destroying the wealth of Australians, and they can range anywhere up to 3 or more % per annum. Also according to ING and another research house. You may be aware of some scandals. So, there's been scandals, financial planning scandals with Commonwealth Bank, Macquarie Bank. There's been a lot of the media and the newspapers, ANZ Bank, National Bank, Westpac. There's a few others. Storm Financial was fairly significant up in Queensland. All the actual tax-effective investments, the Timber Corps and the Great Southerns, Gums, they all went broke. So the people who invested into those basically lost all their money. And the final name there is Tarrant. And you may recall one of the case studies that I used, the inheritor, the fourth person in the case studies. He was the guy who got the advice from Tarrant, and they ended up losing all the investors' money. That was an accounting firm. So we also believe that you owe it to yourself and your family to consider carefully what you're doing. Get the knowledge, financial education and information you need to make the right choices, and take control of your own financial situation. You'll notice there's a swan in the bottom right corner, and if I've got time, I'll run through what the story of the black swan is. So we believe that there's two ways to get an education. So the first way is via the School of Hard Knocks. Tuition comes at a great expense and consumes time, and you never get that back. So you spend a lot of time and a lot of money. Fortunately, there is an easier way. And the easier way, or the school that I referred to, is the School of Prior Learning. But we are amazed with the number of people that think it's cheaper in the long run to get the answers themselves. So people are out there actually researching and trying to figure it out, and a lot of the times they get that wrong. So there's 4 ways to creating wealth and financial freedom. There's potentially other ways, but these are the 4 main areas that we believe exist. Number 1 is real estate or property investing. Most people, Australians in particular, generally love property. Purchase their own home, or they buy investment properties. Then we've got investment, which is broken up into a number of areas, such as super, shares, bonds, term deposits, cash. Other investments that would include managed investments and various other investments. Then you've got business, so a whole range of businesses where people create wealth by building a business and generating an income from a business, and then eventually generally selling it to cash out. And finally, or the fourth main way is the internet, where people have got internet businesses, and everyone's probably heard of the internet success stories, and I suppose there's probably a lot of failures as well. So basically, we believe that you need mentors, and you've got to have a clear perspective, and that basically takes away your emotions, your fears, the excitement, wonder, anxiety, confusion, and the overwhelming factor. So to give you an example, someone might want to purchase an investment property, and they might actually fall in love with a particular type of property. But if you look at the research, the demographics research based on that particular property that they buy, property based on the demographics, and generally the demographics for property might include certain research to do with location demographics, school, shopping centres, etc., etc. We actually teach that in part of the course. Then you've got proficiency, so simplify the process, have a system to guide you through complicated parts, help you avoid the pitfalls, and warn about dangers. So we've got a system that people can follow. So you've got mentors, you've got a clear perspective, you've got a system that you can use, and also patience. So we teach people to be patient, not just jump in or jump out at the wrong time or the right time, depending upon what's happening out in the marketplace. So basically, you take the emotion out of it. So 94% of the failure is actually in the system, and it's not the people using the system. So we'll push on here. I'm conscious of the time. So the big picture. So what external conditions do you think that may affect your strategy over the next 2 to 5 years? For example, the economy. So let's think. If we had another global financial crisis where we saw the share markets fall somewhere between 40 and 80%, how would that affect your situation? Maybe you don't have much exposure or any exposure to that area, but if you did have exposure, then and you're about to retire, and that's all you had, then it's very important to know the mix of your super fund and what risks actually are involved in retaining that exposure. Ever wondered why money is not taught at school? So there's a whole range of subjects that are taught at school, but they generally don't teach people about money. Generally, money is taught by their family members, friends, or life experience, and what you get out in the real world, but it's generally not always correct. So financial education is one of the most important topics that you can study. Most people approaching retirement are hoping that their savings, super, and pensions and social security will take care of them. Well, it's a hope and pray strategy. So between 2007 and 2009, at the height of the global financial crisis, and investors all over the world, in the US in particular, they were pushed into bankruptcy. You may have seen or may recall a lot of information on the media about people losing their homes and homes being boarded up because the property values plummeted, and basically they lost everything. They had more debt than the actual value of their house. So once again, very sad. Research shows that demographics indicate that the world, or especially the Western world, has got an aging population. So we've got the baby boomers. The baby boomers were born between 1946 and 1965. So a 20-year period, they're all marching towards retirement. So our estimates, and based on the government figures, is it's around about 80% of all taxes collected in Australia. So 80% of all the money that the government gets from tax is actually being paid out on welfare and pension payments. So if we've got the baby boomers marching towards retirement, then is that going to get larger or smaller? So we think it's going to get larger, and if it gets larger, where's the money going to come from? Potentially higher taxes. So we've become the #1 consumer group in Australia, and we've been voted Australia's most trusted authority, and that's voted by our members. So we believe that all you need to do as a consumer is put in some time, dedicate some time, and educate yourself to find out how to build wealth for the future. So once again, it's not taught in schools, but we teach financial education. It is safe and secure, and which you can then make your own choices regarding retirement. People talk about a looming financial crisis or another financial crisis that's never well received by the financial establishment, by banks or any of the vested interests, because generally they're receiving money in some form. If you think of some of the TV shows that talk about financial journalists, etc., they're generally sponsored by one of the banks, super funds, or related to Warren Buffett, who you've potentially heard of, or most people would have heard of. He believes that in aggregate, people get nothing for their money from professional fund managers. So most people in Australia are basically investing their money. They've been sold the story, and it's a great story to build wealth, but most people have got their money in super, and the super funds primarily invested into the share market. And we know how that went in the GFC. People, some people got wiped out, but a lot of people lost a lot of money. So hope and pray doesn't work anymore. So reaching financial freedom is one option. The other option is to be poor, and I believe that most people don't want to be poor. We believe talks and BS walks. Now, BS could actually be the black swan in the corner, which if I get time, I'll talk about. Millions of people in Australia and around the world have got an uncertain retirement because they listen to the wrong or a lot of bad information. The difference between advice and education is advice means tell me what to do, and we know that 99.8% of those people are wrong. So advice has been wrong in the past. Educational financial education basically means teach me what to study so that you or I can learn what to do yourself. So take control of your own financial situation. Most people seek advice from people who profit from giving financial advice rather than financial education. So if you go to seek advice, They're actually charging a fee, or you're paying management fees just by using the investment they offer or recommend. And a classic example might be if you go to a bank, any of the banks, and it's a good chance that they go to try and review into their product, not going to recommend another super fund or another bank's investments. So financial education will give you with an unfair advantage in life. It's got the potential to make you more money. It's got the potential to allow you to keep more money, and of course protect more money, especially if there's another global financial crisis. So at our academy, we believe it offers an unfair advantage, and it gives you a competitive edge that you can gain through financial education. And we believe it's more important today than ever before, especially with what's happening in the global economy. So basically, some topical points. Yeah, we're appalled and disgusted at high fees that people are paying, and MBA can also stand for more bad advice. Anyone who's got super who's on the webinar tonight, go and ask your super fund, will I guarantee that you won't lose money? I'd like to hear the answer for that. So generally they will say no, or if they say yes, they'll charge you some sort of an insurance fee to be able to protect it. So it's proven that traditional financial advice fail, and the stats, other than our stats, other stats prove that that's the fact. A recent survey that we did with some of our members basically shows that there's a need to separate payment for advice, product advice. So that basically means that if you go to get advice, then just get the advice from a strategy point of view, and then go and find where you want to invest it. Go find your own product instead of getting advice and then letting them put you into their product or the product that they use. So financial coaching or financial education can educate you on what works and what doesn't work. And it can also save you time and money on your path to financial freedom. Learn other people's errors and don't make the same mistakes that experience has taught people. So still pushing on fairly quickly through here. We've got a few more slides to go. I'm a little bit behind time now with the late start. So I'll continue to push on. Risk management, is it a focus or is it an afterthought? So it could be considering the exposure you've got to assets that could fall in any sort of a large correction in the share market or any other investments. So how to protect yourself and profit in the next global financial meltdown. We basically think that financial education to educate yourself so that you can make your own informed decisions. In 2007, if you remember that chart at the beginning of the presentation, that was based on research, and that was actually right at the time. And we don't say that to brag. We say it because pretty much basically to do with why you should bother to listen to us and consider educating yourself. Here's a fact that back on the 1st of November 2007, the Australian share market, which is called the All Ords, or Ordinaries, was actually 6,853, and today it is lower. So we're 9 years down the track, and people may get a shock, they may get a surprise that it's lower, but today the All Ords is sitting around about 5.3 to 5.4, and we're almost 9 years later. So people talk about how well the share market's going, then we believe that's related back to that vested interest where there's people that make money off promoting that angle. There will be further volatility from our point of view in our research, and also large share market falls over the next 2 to 4 years. Of course, no one can predict when, but we believe that the research is pointing in that area. Love us or hate us, yep, the fact that the research that the associations used got it right, and most people got it wrong at the time. Basically, the strategies and the financial education that we teach, it's all based on mathematics and science. So really, we figured it out through trial and error. So there's a number of big mistakes that people can make. So we'll go through this really quickly. So number one mistake is having the wrong investment strategy. Number two is paying high management fees. So we believe that you can learn how to reduce those fees. listening to the wrong people and getting the wrong advice. If you get financial education, you can then have the freedom to decide who you take advice from, should you wish to take advice, because not everyone wants to actually do it themselves. Having the wrong investments at the wrong time. Financial education could allow you to exit the share market at the right time if you're in shares, and get back in at the right time. Paying for the wrong amounts and the wrong kind of insurances. So there's been a fair bit of information in the media about people paying too much for insurance. Hence, you would have noticed that there's a lot of online services, a lot of companies promoting on TV where you can go direct now for insurances. Mistake number 6, people think it's too late to actually plan and they're already retired. Well, that's not true. By learning your financial education and information, then you can certainly adapt and change and put your retirement plans back on track. Ongoing planning and reviews. So that's extremely important. Whether it doesn't matter where you've got your money invested, whether it's super, retirement funds, property, shares, you should also always continue reviewing what your situation is. Assuming the age pension will take care of you. Well, we've got doubts that the age pension will be around in the same capacity that it is now in a few years down the track. Only invest into high dividend paying shares if you're prepared to lose all your capital. So example there, 1st of November 2007, which was the start of the global financial crisis, the share price of Rio Tinto, which still is our second largest mining company, was $157 per share. Now it's sitting around about $40 a share. So at that time, you would have been getting, for example, a 5% dividend return on the share valued at $157. So at 5% of $157, today you're only getting 5% of around about $40. So there's a significant fall in capital value, even though you still get your income. And basically, when most people are faced with a solution to any problem, 95% of those people, so mostly everyone, choose not to take that solution. So we believe that we've got a solution, and the solution is financial education. Basically, we believe we figured it out. So we put together a course. 2 choices. You can either go and figure it out yourself, which will cost you time and plans, or you can pay a fee to someone to do it all for you. So we'd like to introduce quickly the money game. So we put together what we call the money game. You would have noticed or read something in the email about the money game, that we're going to launch it, and who's it for. So the money game education program for hardworking Australians and for the Retirement Planning Association members who want to take more control of their financial future. They want to learn what wealthy people know. There's certain things that wealthy people have access to or knowledge of that the average hardworking person in the street generally may not have access to. So we actually teach that. So we found those answers, some of those answers. More security and comfort for yourselves and your family. So you've got to consider your family situation. You want to spend hard work and more money. You want to save from paying excess fees. There's a lot of people out there paying high fees still. So it's also for people who want to stop stressing about money. They want to get rid of household arguments. There's a lot of household argument about money. So money, they say, is the root of all evil. People have been affected by the global financial crisis, so financial education, and if there's another GFC that comes on the horizon, then financial education may allow you to protect your assets and your retirement funds or super funds. It's also for people who want simple language, and that's what the course is about. So the money game is actually in everyday language. There's no technical jargon and complex strategies or anything like that. And you've got to have goals. So everyone's got got financial goals, and you work towards putting your goals together based on financial education. So it's pretty based around those earlier areas that we spoke about, and it focuses on financial education is direct property investment, superannuation, self-managed super funds, retirement planning strategies, and home loans and property advice or property finance advice. So it doesn't give advice, it just teaches you about those areas, and then you can go and consider what you want to do. How does it work? It's actually an education program. As I say, it's not advice. And basically, our members have told us what they wanted. They want it to be straightforward. They don't want it to be too complex. So simple language that everyone can understand, and the education will allow people to make better decisions for themselves and their family. So the money game is about getting ahead financially. To understand. MBA in this case doesn't stand for more bad advice, but you don't need to be a university graduate to be able to understand the implication of the money advice. You don't need to change a lot. It doesn't take too much time. It's a series of modules, and it doesn't require, you don't have to be earning a six-figure income to be able to get started. So really, we've made it affordable for all consumers. There is an early bird cost price to get in, and we're opening that up until the 27th of September, which is next week. So if people go to you can go and visit the website now if you wanted to, but there will be an email coming out, I believe it's tomorrow, that'll give you the information on it, and it's actually moneygame.rpaa.com.au, and you can find out the information about it. But the low entry point, it's starts, I believe, at around about $7, so you can get in for $7, and that'll get you started on the program. And now we're up to questions. So thanks everyone for attending, and those people, apologies for the slight technical problem at the beginning. But if you were planning on leaving, thanks for attending once again, and you can leave, or if you've got questions, happy to answer a few questions. Good question. A couple of questions coming in now. How long does the course run for? The course runs for 8 weeks. So basically there's 8 modules, and what's taught is that you'll get content. So each week you'll get content. It's going to start from next week. So the course will start from next week, and the financial education will be broken up into 8 modules, and the modules will be delivered via a link to a website, and you'll be able to access the content there, and it's a learning process. There'll also be some information put up on a similar type of webinar that we're putting up here, just to explain certain topics, and you've also got access to answer or ask some questions from time to time. Thanks for that question. Any other questions coming through? I made a comment about the economy that could greatly impact what their future looks like. I assume that you mean if it goes the wrong way. But then again, if the economy turns around and it starts becoming more fruitful, then obviously that'll be advantageous for you as well. Yep, want to avoid the pitfalls. So yeah, we believe financial education will help you avoid those pitfalls. Yeah, a lot of media hype. Yep, appreciate that coming through. Yep, you don't want to be caught out by another GFC. You want to have enough money for your future and your family. Yep, we totally understand that. Okay, question, how do I know if the program will work? Are there any guarantees? Sure is. So the guarantee that we're offering is that the cost of the course, so we're letting people get in for, so the cost of the course is just under $400, and that covers eight lessons. You can get in for $7, and then there's 2 payments, 4 weeks after the first payment of $7, and then the final payment's 4 weeks after that. And the guarantee that we offer at the Retirement Planning Association is that if after completing the course that you don't believe that you've earned or gotten the value out of the financial education of at least 3 times the cost of the course. So if the course is just under, if you don't think that you've got at least $1,200 value, then we'll provide in the course a full refund, no questions asked. So our guarantee is that if after doing the course and participating in the course, completing the 8 weeks, if you feel that you haven't gotten value to gain at least 3 times that price, say $1,200 as a minimum, then we will refund that money back to you, no questions asked. You don't need a reason. Thanks for that question. Any other questions? Up just on 8 o'clock. Okay, I think we'll finish up now. Once again, thanks for attending the webinar. We've had quite a good turn up, quite a number of people, and appreciate the questions that have come through. Yep, sounds great. Thank you. Yep, thanks for your time. Yep, thanks, James. And I hope everyone has a good night. Bye for now.